And South Africa is proudly celebrating World Tourism Day. The sector is one of the engines driving forces in the country's economy. The industry was badly hit by COVID-19, you'd recall, due to the lockdowns and the travel bans. Now it's recovering and growing again. This year's event is at Constitutional Hill here in Johannesburg, a place rich in history. So the tourism community is coming together to celebrate progress and plan for a stronger future. The celebrations follow the successful G20 Tourism Ministers meeting in Mpumalanga and the signing of the G20 Tourism Declaration. SABC News anchor Simphiwe Ncongwane joins us live now. Simphiwe, a very good morning to you once again. And what can we look forward to from Constitutional Hill this morning?
A very good morning to you, Griselda. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm actually glad in your intro you touched on the rich historical legacy of the Constitution Hill in Johannesburg, where we are at. You know, the Constitution Hill is not an ordinary location, but it is the heartbeat of the country's democratic journey. It was, as you recall, it was one of, once a notorious complex, a prison complex that housed political activists at the time with the likes of Nelson Mandela and Mahatma Gandhi. But today, it still lives as a living museum that houses the Constitutional Court, which in itself a symbol of justice, freedom, and the rule of law. So today, South Africa is joining the world in commemoration World Tourism Day, which is a day to reflect on how travel and tourism is shaping, economies, is building communities, connecting communities, and preserving cultures. And here in South Africa, Griselda, tourism is not just leisure and entertainment and travel, but it is the engine of economic growth, adding billions of rand to the country's fiscus and the GDP. And as we've been alluding to all morning this morning, this year's theme is tourism and sustainable transformation. And it is really a call to action to all of us, the public office bearers, the policymakers, the hotel groups, the township hosts, and as well as the owners of hospitality establishments to rethink how we could make and harness tourism to be inclusive, to be future-proofed, and as well as resilient. And speaking of resilience, we all know that South Africa is currently at a crossroads. I mean, we've got a rich flora and fauna, we've got natural beauty. The World Heritage Sites, some of them are here in South Africa, and we are a melting pot of diverse cultures. But big problems and challenges still stand in the way of us transforming and transforming the tourism sector, such as climate change, I did allude to earlier on, which is threatening the country's coastlines, and of course the need to build and empower our local communities in terms of ensuring that tourism is inclusive and as well as accessible to all. So today we'll feature quite a number of activities, including interactive discussions with the key stakeholders in the industry, and as well as exhibitions. I see now the exhibitors are now setting up their stalls. But the bigger question that we'll be asking ourselves is, how do we move from post-COVID-19 recovery, as you alluded to in your intro earlier, to sustainability or long-term sustainability? And then how do we ensure that tourism is not just, the success of tourism, that is not just counted in numbers, but in impact in terms of innovation and in terms of making and improving the quality of lives for all South Africans. Later on, we'll be speaking to the Tourism Minister, Patricia de Lille, and I'll touch on a bit on the G20 declaration that was made by the G20 Tourism Ministers, whose symposium was held in Mpumalanga a little earlier this month, to talk to us about that and how the tourism sector is gearing itself up to be the true engine for economic growth in South Africa. But for now, Griselda, let me take you back to studio.
Simphiwe, we certainly look forward to all the activities there and the discussions, of course, that will be taking place. We'll try to catch up with you a little bit later on. Thank you very much indeed.